90 days from today, you could be under contract on your very first development deal. Most people spend those 90 days just researching. So if I had to start all over from scratch, here's how I would spend the first 90 days. I'm Josephine. I came to the US as a D1 athlete for college. Now, during college and right after, I had no US credit and no big network. So after college, I started flipping homes until the government said, well, that's just recycling value. I needed to pivot. So I pivoted to ground up construction to build original value on US soil. And that's what got me my green card. I'm now a dual citizen, German, American, and that's only because of one skill set, development. I've been developing for 9 years here locally in Nashville, Tennessee, from land, townhomes, luxury, single family, you name it. After realizing that I've always learned the hard way, I started Developer Academy, and we're now nationwide in over 13 states, helping fix and flippers, investors on how to get into the developer seat. Quick thing before I start. This is not a get rich with nothing video. If you have a job, income, some credit, a few deals behind you, you already have so much more than when I got started. So this video is for you. Let's pretend everything is gone. I've lost my contacts, my projects, my credit. So here's how I would start the first 90 days. The very first week, I wouldn't even look at a deal. I would spend time with myself, how I want to show up. I present myself as I am a developer and making sure that I let everybody know what I'm up to. Now, you don't consume just random content during that first week. We want to build that confidence so that going forward, exactly what it is you're presenting to someone that you meet. As for week 2, I would sit down and write out everything that I have available to myself. Who do I know? Or what resources do I have? Really take inventory of that. Most people go straight to what's missing. Don't be that person. You're already most likely an American watching this, and you're way ahead from where I started. At the time when I started, I had to even figure out how to stay here and fight the immigration battle. Now, go through the list and think about what you have from your income, your credit, your house, equity, maybe in a rental, maybe a boss with money, a 401k, anything that you can come up with that you have available to yourself. Even just knowing the market can be as simple as that. A license, maybe a neighbor that has a license, and really take inventory of that. That's so crucial. That way you get an idea of what you can utilize in order to make your goal a reality. Not only is this week so crucial, but keep in mind that I started without any capital of my own. So I brought in other people's money, OPM, and so can you. You just got to get resourceful. So I'll walk you through what needs to happen next. Now in week 3, I would actually map out where the area around me is growing. Let's just say you live in a city. Look at the corridors. Look at where new stores are popping up, where apartment complexes are popping up. Really talk, ideally, if you can, to the folks at the Chamber of Commerce folks. Seek out that information on websites. Now with AI, you can utilize even AI to figure out where markets are growing. Now, if you're living more rural, quite frankly, look at also the map where an area could expand next, where you maybe see even home builders focusing on. So make your life easy and honestly just observe patterns. And mostly that's through grocery stores, schools, shops, restaurants, you name it. Keep it really simple and just look at where do you see growth. And that's really how I started. So my first project was 5 minutes south of Broadway here in Nashville, Tennessee. And the reason why I chose that was because it was so close to Broadway, but it was so massively underdeveloped. And those opportunities you have all across the US. Actually, in fact, this is a fun fact. If you look at most cities across the US, they're structured very similarly. Most of the times you have the South and the West side more developed than the Eastern and Northern side. And that actually has to do with how the wind blows, believe it or not. So those urban patterns are really true most of the times across US cities. And you can just truly type into ChatGPT, Claude, whatever you're using. Hey, I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z, this city or this rural area. Where do you think the next areas are popping? So that's a great just first take to get started. But also don't underestimate getting into your car, drive neighborhoods, see where there are vacant lots, but you see other houses all around. Contact those vacant lot owners and see whether they know someone that is interested in selling. And guess what? By asking them about who might be interested in selling, and that also lets the person you're talking to know that you're serious. Ultimately, get creative, figure out where that next opportunity could be. And that's truly you just stepping into your visionary role. Now that in week 3, you've learned about your market and hopefully became a little bit more of an expert than you were in the beginning of the week. Week 4 is the deal filter. I would analyze 1 deal a day. Now that's 7 deals analyzed for the course of the week. And I would not think about whether I could afford to buy them. At this point, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that I understand how to analyze a deal. And that's how I would go about it. With the 7th deal analyzed, I already know so much more than the first deal. I would continue digging in and would ask myself, well, could I build what I want to build there? I would utilize AI. I would go to zoning administrators, ask them questions. Hey, what needs to happen if I want to do X, Y, and Z? But essentially, I would just really get going on diving in. What assumptions can I make to just get a feeling of whether this is accurate? Quite frankly, analyzing a deal has also to do with talking to people that are currently doing it. You want to understand what people currently build for. Is it $165 a square foot? Is it $175? But get some kind of input on this. And with all the resources that we have available in today's times, you can totally figure that out. And that's what I would do in week 4. So let's just recap real quick where we are at this point. Week 1, I've spent on stepping into my identity. I am a developer. Week 2, I took inventory of who and what I have available. Week 3, I became an expert in my market. Week 4, I learned how to analyze a deal. Now it's all about the who, building the team. By now, I started with other people's money. I didn't have the capital at the time to do deals on my own. Most people are in that situation. And the interesting thing is that when you look at a Cody Sanchez or a Robert Herjavec from Shark Tank, they'll tell you they're not even using their own money. Big Wall Street firms are not using their own money. You don't have a money problem, you have a knowledge problem. So you got to get resourceful on how you put your first deal together. And it's not just your first deal. Generally, it is actually every deal thereafter. Even if you wanted to buy a business, same thing, same skill set. Actually, that's why development and buying a business is so similar, which is a whole nother video. Let's talk about how you actually get that done. Everybody talks about OPM, other people's money, but how do you actually do that? And that starts by putting yourself in the right rooms. When I started and built my network, I stepped into rooms that you probably don't even know exist. You got to network and you got to find those groups. And so that can be your local RIA, that can be a meetup, truly the meetup.com. It can be Facebook groups, but it can also be just nonprofits, charities, any kind of niche groups where you can really meet a bunch of people. Because guess what? People from tech, doctors, lawyers, whatnot, all of them want to, most of the times, get into real estate in some sort of way. And a lot of them have probably a rental here and there or have some other investments. Find where the high earners are. You want to focus ideally on people that are accredited, so that have a certain net worth. And we have another video that breaks down on who an accredited investor is. But ultimately, that's how I got my start. You got to find those rooms to network in. Now, during this month 2, I would also focus on getting to know other people that are actively doing it. Because again, we're pretending I don't know anything and I'm just starting out. And I also would focus on builders, meeting with civil engineers, architects. I would build my network. If you think about really spending a dedicated week to focus on finding the rooms that those people are in, imagine how many contacts you'll walk out with by spending just one dedicated week networking. You'll meet so many architects, civil engineers, builders, and other people in the sphere by just putting yourself out there. I bet you, wherever you live at, whether it's urban or rural, that there are plenty of groups getting together. And even if you have trouble finding a group that is focused on real estate, you'll probably be able to drive around the corner and find some new construction, and you can go meet the builder that's actually doing that project and ask, hey, would you mind telling me who's actually developing this? As a last option, you can always cold call people and introduce yourself. Don't be shy. Again, this is your business. You're looking to change your life. So you got to put yourself out there. But also we have a checklist for each of these things that I'm talking about. And that just fast tracks everything. And you can get actually just a free roadmap here down in the description below as well. But in month 2, I would just straight up focus on building my network really on the who do I have, and who do I need to make this a reality. So now I'm in month 3. I spend all of month 2 networking and thinking about the who do I need, who do I have. In month 3, I'm focused on bringing everything that I've learned so far together. So we spend week 3 driving the market, really becoming an expert, and week 4 analyzing a deal. I have met a bunch of people. So what do I do? Well, now I'm going to connect the dots. So I'm going to look for that sample deal, and I'm going to look at taking something under contract that I think works, just so that I can get myself into that due diligence mode. That actually allows me then to just say, I'm working on X property, 123 Main Street, and I'm going to use 123 Main Street to run that by my zoning department and say, hey, I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z. Let's just say I'm looking to build a duplex. Am I able to do that here at 123 Main Street if I don't know already that? But generally, we always double check. We always confirm with Metro here in Nashville, whether I'm able to do what I'm trying to do. So the zoning part, planning part, you pretty much always double check. So you want to use your sample deal to run through those steps. And we always have actually a due diligence checklist too that takes you through it. But ultimately, that process is always the same. And so you want to do it with a real deal because now you get to know also those officials with an actual deal. So they'll take you more serious and you're just learning, you're remembering better with an actual deal. Now, whether you close on that deal or not, again, keep in mind that when you're in that due diligence phase, in that inspection period, you actually can always leave the deal. That's what a lot of wholesalers do. They tie up a deal and then they see if they can flip the paper during that due diligence period, that inspection period, or else they leave it. So pretty much that's the same process for you. You're obviously going to try to find a deal that actually works and you can continue forward. But you want to make sure you have enough due diligence that also you can run it by potential investors that you may have met here in month 2. If I'm uncertain on how to write a contract, I'll just get a realtor that helps me representing myself in that transaction. And so even when the realtor asks, hey, earnest money, which is the deposit that you put down securing the contract, I would bring in a person that I've met in the last month, say, hey, I'm looking to this deal. This is what we're looking to build. Are you interested in coming on as my capital partner? That's really how you position this. So ultimately, you try to create win-wins where you're doing the work, you focus on the process that you're learning here, and you have a person funding the deal. Now, again, we want to make sure that you feel comfortable in running through each of these steps. So make sure you download the free roadmap down below that gets you started on taking you through all of these steps that I'm already walking you through. Pretty much how I would wrap the 90 days on getting started if I had to do everything all over. If you don't take anything else from this video, I want you to know that the most important thing is to stop waiting until you're ready. There's never a time that everybody that wants to do something big is gonna feel ready. You just get more confident by doing it, by learning the process. And yes, there are obstacles and they're real, but it is not money as most people think. It is truly knowledge. If it was only about money, trust fund babies with a formal education and money would be the only ones being wealthy. And that is not the case. You don't need a formal MBA. You don't need money to do this. The gap is really that knowledge. And it's just by you diving in, learning the process. That is so doable. My point is that people from all walks of life can actually get into development. It's just getting the method down. That's really all it is. So if you're ready, if you know that development is your next step, make sure to DM me start on Instagram and my team will be in touch with you. If you're still shopping and you're not sure whether development is the next thing, check out the link down below. That is my roadmap. It is a step-by-step free guide that's gonna take you through everything that I mentioned in this video for free. So make sure you check that out and download that. I'll see you in the next video.